people are really struggling with a lot of food sensitivities because of the way that our foods are manufactured these days. But when you have food sensitivities, they're different than a traditional food allergy. So when you go to a traditional allergist and get a blood test taken, they are testing for one specific type of reaction, which is called an IgE mediated or a type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. And in that event, you eat something and there is an immediate response launched. So you might get hives, you might have anaphylaxis in a really extreme case. All of these sort of like immediate, like, oh God, I'm having an allergic reaction type of thing. But there are two other type of allergic reactions or cascades that happen. They're IgG mediated, and they're called delayed onset reactions. And the tough thing with these delayed onset reactions is that it can take 48 hours post-exposure to show. So it's really difficult for people to be like, well, I ate this thing 2 days ago, and now 2 days later, I'm having X, Y, or Z symptom with it. The other thing is that those symptoms are so varied with food sensitivity. So it could be straight digestive, like you get an upset stomach, you're more constipated, acid reflux is a huge one. But it can also be headaches, it can be psoriasis, it can be cystic acne, it can be hormonal fluctuations, mood fluctuations. So symptoms are all over the place, and they're up to 48 hours after we ate this thing. And so it's just really hard to nail down, right? So and just because you don't have this immediate response doesn't mean that your body likes it. So when we talk food sensitivity testing in the clinic, it's really about just saying, does your body like this or not? And then once we identify what something might be, what I always recommend is to give it 2 weeks where you really just cut that out and see how you feel over the course of that 2 weeks. A lot of times, depending on how severe people's symptoms are, that's enough to change their diet with that. But if not, like let's say for example it's gluten, and by the way the big four are gluten, soy, dairy, and corn. But let's say it's gluten and they go 2 weeks and cut it out and they're feeling decent, but they're like, I don't know if this is real or not. Then I'm like, all right, go ahead and have a gluten heavy meal, have some pasta, bread, a sugar heavy dessert, and see how you feel over the next 48 hours. And usually that's a really big indicator for people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also foods that you think you might have an issue with might not be a problem when you actually nail down what you're sensitive to, because once you eliminate that food that you're sensitive to, your body can more appropriately manage everything else.